Welcome back, ladies and gents. Brand new YouTube video. If it's your first time here, my name's Seb. Thank you for watching this video. I want to just jump straight into it because this is going to be a really good one. And I just want to start off by saying that my videos aren't scripted and I don't like to read off of a teleprompter. For this one, all I have is some just brief notes written down on a notebook, but I'm not going to be reading straight from this. I like to just talk straight off of the dome, whatever comes to mind on the topic that I'm talking about. So this video is going to be talking about how I've gotten closer to God and how it makes your life easier. Your life literally just gets better when you get closer to God. So it was probably the end of last year. I just decided to get closer to him because I've been seeing a lot of content, I guess, just around it, and it got me curious. And you might be asking, well, how do I get closer to God? And that was my struggle at first as well. So the ways that you can get closer to him is reading scripture, reading parables, watching movies or shows on him, listening to preachers, to people on YouTube talk about him, talk about his ways, how to live life according to his ways. We also have a free resource. There's the Bible app on our phones that is actually really, really good that I'm going to get into. And then trying to incorporate him into your life throughout the day, every day. So I'll start with that one, meaning from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep, I think of ways that I could try to talk to him, try to get quiet and speak to him. So from the moment I wake up and I just do a quick morning prayer, thankful that I got restful sleep throughout the night, and to ask him to guide me throughout the day, to take the right actions, to have the right mindset, so that I can do the best for myself, for my family, for everyone around me, and I make sure that I'm not causing anyone harm. Every action I take should be for my good and the greater good of others around me. So the morning prayer, a prayer right before I eat, right? Just a quick grace, just being thankful for the food that I have, that he's provided for me. Maybe during my workout or right before my workout, like I just pray for him to give me the strength to hit this PR. And then at night, right before I go to sleep, a very quick prayer just to thank him for the day and for him to protect me throughout the night and to have me wake up with energy so that I could tackle the day again with his power. So that's the first way. Another way that I mentioned is the Bible app on our phones. Every morning I go through the verse of the day. So if you click on the Bible app, you'll see that it has a verse of the day. You click on that, you go through that, and then there's a person that talks about the verse of the day, the meaning behind it, how it relates to life now, what it meant back then, why it was written back then, and then you kind of just go through some quiet and alone time through the app as well that just guides you through. And I've built up a pretty big streak on that app. I've been doing it for over 100 days in a row. So I've really made that a habit and a resource to get closer with him. Now, one show that has helped tremendously is The Chosen. If you haven't watched it, I do recommend it. It's free on Amazon Prime. It just released the 5th season. It's such a good show. And the interesting thing is that this show started out as a crowdfunded show. It had no funding. It just started out. It wanted to see how it goes. And it turned out to be such a big show that the 5th season was actually released in movie theaters. So really good show. Go and watch it. It does get pretty brutal and emotional, but I think it's PG-13 or PG, so nothing crazy. But the way that it follows Jesus and all of his followers and tells his story is just amazing. Now, next thing, go and watch The Passion of the Christ. This is an older movie. It was directed by Mel Gibson. I think it came out in like 2001. It is rated R. It's a very brutal, very heavy movie. But something also that's very interesting is there was a lot of the cast during that movie, and they didn't really believe in this stuff, and they didn't think much of all the movie things and all the stuff about it. But during the movie and after the movie, so many people started to change their thoughts. They got closer to God too. They wanted to start going to church. They were so impacted by this movie and the message that they converted. They actually converted to being Catholic and whatnot. So those are just a whole bunch of ways that I've gotten closer to God. And when you do, it's almost like that void that you feel on a daily basis of something missing. Now, I don't want to say that this is the thing that's missing, but for me it was. Because our day-to-day lives just keep us so busy, and that's how the world is created nowadays, right? We have no time for ourselves. We have no free time. We have no time to think. We have no alone time. And when we are alone, we just distract ourselves completely with our phones, with consuming, with doing all these things that just numb ourselves from the thoughts that we're trying to avoid. Now, for me, talking, finding God, and trying to incorporate His ways started to fill that void that I felt. And it makes your problems go away. It makes them feel easier, and it makes them feel like you can actually just walk through life easier. I know that sounds like I'm not making sense, but I'm going to explain myself. You're going to realize that He was, He is, and He always will be there for you every single step of the way. Now, when I was younger, I did go to church. I went to classes on the weekends for church, and then I stopped going at one point because I just feel like maybe it feels a little bit forced when you're younger and you don't really know what it's about. But this is the beauty of it. When you get into it yourself, you go at your own pace. You get to read the Bible. You get to figure things out. You get to figure out what each chapter means, the Old Testament, the New Testament. And a fun fact is, the Bible says, do not be afraid. 365 times. I think it's the King James Version of the Bible. But think about that. There's 365 days in the year. One time saying, do not be afraid from one day of the whole entire year. Is that a coincidence? Maybe. But I used to believe in coincidence. Now I don't. There's no such thing as coincidence in this world that we live in. Now, when you go on this journey and you start to read the Bible and read parables or stories from the Bible, I also recommend reading the book of Job. There's also a whole bunch of YouTube videos that go deep into it and explain exactly what that is. Now, just a quick rundown of the book of Job. It was about a man who was living a really good life, and the devil made a sort of challenge to God, saying that he just follows you and trusts you because he has such an easy life and a great life, and you've given him everything that he's ever wanted. But what if you take that away from him? So God did agree. He took everything away from Job. And I don't want to spoil it, but it's a really good parable. Now, parables are stories in the Bible, and I think that this is what also drives people away from learning, because they don't want to read. They don't want to study. They don't want to find the lessons in the stories because it feels like they're going back to school, right? School has taught us to read these textbooks and these books that we never wanted to read. So now we kind of stay away from that stuff. But your learning should not stop when you leave school. Life is a never-ending classroom, and you should be continually trying to learn, trying to take the lessons from life the things that you go through, the pain that you've been through, and turn that into your power so that it doesn't hold you back. Now, the Bible has so many lessons on this, and it's literally one of the greatest books ever written. And there's so many little passages and verses that'll stick out to you when you start reading it. Now, you have to realize that he's always been there, but you just didn't know that he was there. But it's that little voice in your head that keeps on talking to you. And I had one night that was very, very profound with him. I was watching The Chosen, I was reading the Bible, and then I was just saying a prayer before I went to sleep, and I knelt down. I was praying, my eyes closed, and I literally felt his presence by me. Like he was speaking to me. Everything that I was saying out loud or saying in my head felt like there was somebody that was replying to me. Like he was literally talking back to me, saying that he's always been there. And I was just apologizing for taking so long to build this friendship with him. And I also want to stress that this isn't going to happen right away. Just like anything, just like a habit, just like going to the gym, working out, you start small, you start slowly, and then you build momentum until it gets to be a strong enough foundation so that it's a part of your life, right? When you go to the gym, you aren't going to straight up get jacked or lose all your fat or lose weight on day one. It's impossible. But after you do it, after a while, weeks, months, then it really starts to become a part of who you are. And then it becomes easier to work out, to do the cardio, to do whatever. And just like this, you have to start small, maybe the verse of the day, start watching shows, movies, you keep implementing him into your life, and then you build a stronger relationship with him. You start getting quiet, you start getting more comfortable with your own thoughts, knowing that there's nothing wrong with the way you're thinking. Maybe the way that you're living your life is wrong. You aren't incorporating any free time. You think that being alone, there's something wrong with you. But you have to have this blind belief in him, just like when you were a kid. When you were a kid, you just believed in everything that you wanted to be and become, right? When you were in school, they asked you what you want to be when you grow up. For me, that was becoming a professional soccer player for Manchester United. Now, I know that's not a feasible goal now, but back then as a kid, I just believed it was going to happen. I just had blind belief that I was going to just keep playing soccer at the level that I was playing and then keep getting better and then one day just go pro and it'd be amazing. And I would just visualize it in my mind at times as a kid, right? Like scoring a goal for them. And I would always visualize like a Paul Scholes-esque volley from outside of the box, scoring a goal, the crowd going crazy, the emotions that I used to feel actually get chills. That's the type of blind belief you have to have with the actions you're taking. And you start to develop that when you realize that God is on your side, that he's created you in his image, and that you can take action with his help. Now, God will always give you the lessons that you need to learn in life. And he will always guide you to where you want to be, but just not in the way that you intended to get there. So you have to know where you want to go. So set that end goal, but you have to let go of how it ultimately happens. You have to realize that you're creating with him now, and he's also guiding you. So things might not turn out exactly the way you want, but you have to know that every single good or bad thing, even rejection, is just redirection in the same way. Failure is feedback, so just learn off of it. That's all you have to look at. There's either winning or there's learning. So when you fail, try to analyze why you fail, what you can do better, how can you stop that from happening next time, and then keep getting better. And eventually, you're going to get to the end result. Just stop focusing on the end result, though. Know that it's going to happen. Know, K-N-O-W. When God's on your side, you know that it's going to happen, but you just don't know 100% how, but you have to take action every day. And it's just having blind belief and blind faith in him. And what that also means is you have to believe in what you don't see right now. You can't actually see him, but you can believe that he's there. When you believe something, believing in something, even when it's not in front of your eyes, even when it's not real yet, believing in it means that it already exists later in the future, but time just hasn't caught up yet. But it's not going to come true, and it's not going to come to pass if you do not take action. Action is the decider. You cannot just sit and think and wait. You have to take action. You have to maybe fail or win, see what went well, see what went wrong, and then keep taking action with this new information you've now learned. This is the natural learning process of getting better. So view life as a never-ending classroom and keep taking action, and realize that failure is not final, it's just feedback. And realize also that God is guiding you because he works outside time and space. Meaning that he makes things happen in his own way and on his own time that we can't perceive right now. And one problem that we have is the problem of being instantly gratified. We want things in 30 days, in 90 days, in however many weeks or days, in the quickest possible way, which can happen, but you just have to start playing the long game and know that he's on your side. And once again, he works outside of time and space, outside of our time and space. So you can't know 100% exactly when something's going to happen, but you also can't want it to happen too fast either, because then you don't learn the lessons along the way. Just think about it this way. There's a crypto guy and he's just banking on some crypto coin to make money. And he puts all of his money in, he makes, let's just say like 100K. He made that money with no work involved. He doesn't know what hard work is. Now he thinks that this is how everything works. And then when he tries to do it again and it doesn't happen, he's going to keep trying because he has no idea what hard work is. Hard work is putting in action and effort for a long period of time to finally see the harvest, right? First you have to sow, take action, and then you have to reap. First you sow, and then you reap. Then you get the harvest. There is no skipping steps here. You don't want to skip steps, because if you make the money, if the thing happens, money just amplifies who you now are. So if you're greedy, if you're into being a prideful person and you have a huge ego and you love material things, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with this, but you don't want to get it too quick. Money just amplifies who you are. And just realize, like the verse John 13:7 says, "You do not realize now what I am doing, but later you will understand." So even if things are not going your way right now, realize that they're happening exactly how they're supposed to happen, because God is making them happen and he is on your side. Just believe this and know that it's an absolute fact. And I can prove this to you by just doing a quick thought experiment. Think back to your past. If you're watching this video right now, everything worked out for you in the past. Even when you thought that you weren't going to get through something, even when something truly terrible happened in your life, you broke up with someone, you lost your money, someone cheated you, someone did you wrong, they talked about you, or you got bullied, whatever it was, eventually you got through it. And then it took some time, and then you realize, maybe that was supposed to happen to me so that I could learn this lesson in life. And then you extracted the lesson at some point. So you have to realize that you don't understand when some things are happening. I get it. It happens to everyone. We go through some tough things and we don't know why something is happening. But as you let time pass, the lesson will be revealed, and then you could turn the pain into power, and then you become a better person because of it. Everything, all of the most terrible shit that's happened to me, I've turned it into my power, and it's literally made me into a better person. Like, I'm making this video right now because I genuinely love to help people any way that I possibly can, and I want this video to help you. This is why I get this conviction and this passion when I'm talking, because this has helped me in life, and I don't like to talk about things that I haven't gone through, that haven't helped me. And this has helped me tremendously, because you start to like relax, right? No matter if there's good or bad happening, you know that it's exactly what is supposed to happen. And this also plays into the feeling lonely and being alone. Now, being alone is a choice. You select to be alone. Why? Because you want some time to think, to relax, to get over that rush and the craziness of the world. And when you get closer to him, this gets easier as well. Because like I said before, the world is just created to keep us consuming and keep us busy, so that we don't have any time to actually think about what matters and the things that we truly and actually want. But when you feel lonely all the time, when it's just you and yourself and your thoughts, and you can't spend time alone without grabbing your phone, without doing something and being stimulated or gratified instantly in one way or another, then you know that there's probably something wrong. Or maybe you're numbing yourself from the pain that you feel, or from something that happened, etc., etc. So being alone is a choice, and there's nothing wrong with it. Once you become comfortable with yourself and your thoughts and with him, being alone doesn't feel lonely anymore. You never really feel lonely anymore. I can spend the whole day alone and be completely fine. Now, I'm not going to do that for a long period of time, because we are humans, so we do crave some type of bonding, whether that's with friends, whether that's with some type of network, whether that's with family. We can't be isolated for too long, unless you're some type of yoga guy and you're just isolated in the mountains or something, whatever. But we cannot be in monk mode forever. Now, this is the end of this video. I really, truly do hope that this has helped you. If it has helped you in any way, please like, subscribe, comment, share this with any friend, family member, anyone that you know that this might help them, or this might resonate with them as well. And with that, thank you so much. Onwards.